Greetings, Bat Family, and welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. Make sure you visit our website at holybatcast.com or find us all over social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast, you'll find us. If you love the show and you want to help support us, you can do that on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/holybatcast. And as always, a big thank you to our patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for, doing that out of the kindness of your heart and just making the show that much easier to do. So you guys rock. Big ol' thank you to our patrons. We are a proud part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out all of those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm your Bat host, Andy DiGenova. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram and on Letterboxd. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. So on our last episode, we did our quick-ish reactions to Shazam! Fury of the Gods, mostly spoiler-free. And now it's time for the main event. We're going to do the real big involved review, spoilers and all, but I'll give you a spoiler warning before we get there. So yeah, we're going to do the real review for Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And joining me, I've got my two Bat pals. We got the Trinity, the Holy BatCast Trinity together. As we should when there's a new DC movie out there. So first of all, it's Jamie Drewley. Hi, Jamie.
What's happening, everybody?
Not much, man. Just ready to talk some superheroes, talk some DC.
That'll work.
This is how we spend our wild Friday nights.
Welcome to fatherhood, sir.
Oh, it's great. I love it. Speaking of fatherhood, he's living it himself. It's Brendan Lowe. Hey, Brendan.
Howdy, Shazamily. How are we?
Hey, good. Welcome back. It's been a minute since it's been all three of us.
It has been a while.
I appreciate that you and Jamie, again, put aside your differences for the sake of the show.
It's fine. I don't have a problem with Jamie anymore.
Oh, that's good.
Are we still mad at each other? Is that a thing?
Oh, no, but I think Brendan's mad at someone else right now.
Oh, yeah.
Old Yoko DiGenova.
Number five. Anyway, Shazam. We're going to talk all about Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. Before we do that, though, I also have to give a shout out to our friends over at Manscaped who are nice enough to sponsor the show. So this is a public service announcement. Manscaped now has beard products and is going even further with their brand new Weed Whacker 2.0. Go ahead and tell the world the leaders in below-the-waist grooming are traveling north of your South Pole with their revolutionary grooming products. The new Weed Whacker 2.0 and their brand new beard line confirms they have all the best tools for your hygiene toolbox. So it's time to upgrade your game by going to manscaped.com and using our promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off plus free shipping. You heard it on the last one. You got a real-time testimonial from Catherine DiGenova from the wife that she likes the Manscaped. She even said she would live in my armpit, which I know I heard Jamie's son loved.
Yeah.
I mean, even if that was a little weird, true love has no boundaries.
Express it in your own way.
Exactly. But it's good stuff there. If you are looking at the beard stuff, the new beard kit has beard shampoo and conditioner, beard oil, beard balm, not to mention the actual new Beard Hedger Pro kit. And so the Beard Hedger, it cuts up to 20 different lengths, all with one guard. And our pal Eric Carter even said the guard is like nice and sturdy, so it doesn't slip. It stays in the length that you want, and it's really helpful. So if you are one of those beardy folks and you want to trim up and make sure that you clean and keep your beard looking and smelling nice, go check out Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro Kit, because it sounds like they have a lot of great stuff for your beard. And then the Weed Whacker 2.0. Again, the Weed Whacker is the stuff that helps with the nose and ear hair. And I know it's sad that we have to care about it, but we do. Trust me, it's worth it. Age. We are. Welcome to your 40s. It's terrific. I love it. Are you in your 40s yet, Brendan?
Next year.
Okay. All right. So
I turned 39 in Feb, so yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, so the Weed Whacker, the beard stuff, and then all the rest of their awesome products, the lawnmower and the shampoo and the body wash and the deodorant, all that stuff. It's all good stuff. Check it out. Go to manscaped.com. But if you're going to make a purchase, again, check out or use the promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. And good news, if you're going to get the Performance Package 4.0, they've already upgraded the Weed Whacker in that package. So you're already getting the Weed Whacker 2.0. So all kinds of good stuff. Check it out, manscaped.com. And again, that promo code is BATSCAPED. Sweet. All right, well, let's get the party started. We did talk a little bit of Shazam last time. Brendan gave his thoughts 2 episodes ago, but now it's time to do it for real. Let's take a look at the long delayed sequel, I guess you could say, Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Okay, so Shazam: Fury of the Gods was released at this point almost 2 weeks ago now, huh?
About a week and a half.
No, about a week and a half ago. Okay, I'm sorry. I've got my brain. Directed again by David F. Sandberg, who did the first film. Written by Henry Gayden, Chris Morgan, and Bill Parker. And then the entire cast returns. Zachary Levi as Shazam. Asher Angel is Billy Batson. Jack Dylan Grazer is Freddie Freeman. Adam Brody is grown-up Freddie. Megan Good is grown-up Darla. DJ Catrona is grown-up Pedro. Grace Carolyn Curry, formerly Grace Fulton. I got to get used to the new name. Grace Carolyn Curry. I need to get better. She gets to play both. She gets to be superhero and non-superhero Mary. Ross Butler is grown up Eugene. So anyway, the whole cast who was in the first one are back, and this time they are joined by Rachel Zegler as Anthea, Lucy Liu as Calypso, and Helen Mirren and as Hespera. We will still start spoiler-free, as is tradition, before we get to the spoiler warning, just in case folks haven't seen it yet. Now, if you've heard the last episode, you heard my spoiler-free thoughts, but I'm curious about the other guys. Brendan gave a quick version, so I'll let you expound on it first, Brendan, and then I'll let Jamie have his chance. So, Brendan, your spoiler-free thoughts on Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Actually, I'm just going to jump right in front of
you. Oh, you go for it.
I don't need to give my spoiler-free thoughts because you and Catherine already did it for me. Because damn near verbatim, everything the two of you said is exactly what I'm going to say. So let's just save everybody the time and say, listen to the last episode, and okay. I'm in on that.
Wow. All right. Well, that was easy. Well, good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
And I can't remember exactly what I said last time, but I to be perfectly honest, I'm not. You guys went into it in a lot more detail, obviously, you and Catherine, but I'm not a million miles away from where you guys are. I mean, in my ranking, in my star rating and stuff on Letterboxd, like it's literally just behind the first one. And yeah, I think just the things that are missing that you guys talked about, if it had more of those things, it'd be on the exact same level as the first one. But it's a perfectly good sequel to a really good movie from 4 years ago.
All right, great. Anything else you want to add, Jamie? Or you good?
I mean, I really thought that Shazam: The Golden Army was a pretty good time, but I was surprised by it. I guess I expected something different than what I got. I expected more. Like Shazam wasn't like some groundbreaking, super fresh, original superhero film, but like it felt good, and it just felt different than what was coming out from other places at the time. Like just a different perspective of how would a kid be if he had the powers of, say, a Superman or something like that. And this one just felt like there was not a damn original idea anywhere in the film. And that made me a little bit sad walking out of it. And that's not to say I didn't have a good time watching it. I did. It's entertaining. And as we all know, Jamie loves entertainment above all else. But as far as the non-entertainment qualities of the film, I think it should have and could have been better.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair. I mean, and yeah, I said it on the last episode, but in case people didn't listen to the last episode, it's a really good time. But as we discussed, and as you just said, that the first movie had this really fun hook of it's big meets superheroes. You're right. What if a little kid, what if a foster kid gets superpowers And what does that look like? And you can have a lot of fun with that. And at the same time, he's trying to decide if he wants to be part of this new family. And there's this great heart in at the base of it, of him feeling abandoned by his mother, trying to find his mother, rejecting his new family, and at the same time he has superpowers where he can let loose. And there was a lot of fun, unique elements to that first movie. And as fun as this second movie is, and it really is, and there's a lot to like about it, I love how it looks, I love the scope, I love the action, it's a good time. It just feels more like a generic superhero movie. And I hate to even use that word generic, but I'm afraid it's appropriate. Like, it just those unique hooks are all gone here, and it ends up just being a fun superhero movie. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that we all had our expectations higher because of the first one. And as we said in our spoiler-free review with Catherine, I think the cast is great. I think the direction is great. As Brendan said 2 episodes ago, it's amazing what they got out of their $100 million budget. This movie looks great, and the scope feels so much bigger than the last one for essentially the same money. That's amazing. But the script is, I think, what lets it down. Is there are a lot of great ideas in the script, but they don't give enough time or development to some of those ideas to really make them matter or to make them resonate.
There's one in particular that, it's not really a spoiler, I guess, but I'll wait till we get over the spoiler wall to mention it. But
and that's where I'm at too. The first thing I'm going to do is tear into this movie so I can get the negative out of the way first. But even though what I say I don't feel is terribly so much a spoiler, I do want to get over the spoiler wall just in case somebody out there is like me and they're like overly sensitive about shit that they hear before they go into a movie. So
for sure.
I do want to say that, but it's the first thing we're hitting when we get there.
Okay.
Is it the end of the movie? Because that's usually where you go to.
It is not, in fact.
So anyway, like it's I know it's sort of faint praise of like, oh, it's fun, but it is. It's fun. And I wish it was great. And it's not quite great.
Same.
So like it's an easy thing to watch. And I think in my Letterboxd review, I called it entertaining fluff. And it's a shame that it is fluff, but it is. And again, there's some good ideas there, and there are some nice things that I think could have made the movie have a little more substance, but I think those were let down by the script, or as me and Catherine discussed, maybe the editing, maybe they cut some of that stuff out.
I see. I'm glad you brought that up because listening to you, I was listening to that episode last night and this morning, and I was waiting to pick my daughter up, and that I don't even remember which one of you brought it up first about the editing, and I was like, oh, that could be exactly, because I walked out of the theater going, that was good, but something's missing here. Like, it feels like there's missing pieces of this film. And it just, for some reason, never occurred to my simple mind until I heard you guys talk about it that, yeah, they might have chopped this thing a little too hard.
Because it's 2 hours and 10 minutes, which is a good, strong length. But because they even pride themselves on it's more of a family superhero film and it's appropriate for the whole family, who knows? Maybe they overshot and they ended up with a 2 hour and 25-minute movie. And they're like, well, shit's got to go. I mean, it's all speculation, no idea. Maybe we'll find out someday, but it's certainly possible.
Something, I think it was a reply to a tweet or something that Sandberg said there's like 25 or 30 something minutes of deleted scenes and stuff that are going to be on the Blu-ray.
Well,
there's the missing pieces, I believe.
I could explain a lot. So
release the Sandberg cut.
Yeah. And that's just it, is I did like it enough. I would happily watch another 20 minutes of this movie, another 2.5. Like a 2.5 hour version. I would happily watch that.
Here's the other thing though. They keep talking about, hey, this is for the family. And I thought the first movie for the most part leaned that way. Sandberg's got his roots in horror and the guy knows how to stretch his dollar and do all that stuff. But even when he was introducing some of the horror type elements, the biggest case in point being the scene where Savannah's in the office with his father and brother, there was a lot of restraint put there, but it was still a tense moment. You know what I mean? So that works for the people that are older, the more mature audience. And I should say just the aged audience, not mature, because we're not mature. And it also works for the younger audience because they're not actually witnessing what's going on there. So, it works for both ends of the crowd here. I feel like this one towed that line way harder to the grown-up side of it. I thought it tried to be a little too edgy in a couple parts, and I was like, come on, guys, really? Is that something this movie needed? Did that complete this movie? Did it make it better? And I don't think it did. In fact, I think it made it worse.
Interesting. I'd be curious to hear what those things are, because I didn't really get that impression.
Oh, we'll get to it.
Okay.
And I can't remember all of them, but there's 4 or 5 times in the movie where I just kind of shrugged and went, why?
Huh.
A couple of them I remember specifically, but anyway.
That's okay. All right. Well, let's get over the spoiler wall. My hunch is that folks listening, they've probably seen it, or maybe they just don't care. But because we spoke in depth spoiler free last time, I don't want to just repeat everything that I said when I recorded with Catherine. So let's go over the spoiler wall so we can get into specifics. We all say Shazam is a good, entertaining superhero movie. I think Jamie and I are on the same page of like, God, we just wish we liked it a little more than we do. We like it, but we don't quite love it. Brendan, you seemed to be a little more positive on it than we are.
I don't know if maybe my expectations weren't as high, because I went in just expecting a fun time, which is what I got. So yeah.
So
I expected that, but I also expected something else I got out of the first movie that I felt was really short. And Andy and Catherine already discussed that, but we'll talk about it some more.
All right. Well, let's get to where we can talk about it. So spoiler warning is in effect in 3, 2, 1.
All right. I'm going to kick the door open right here. Here we go. These villains in this film beat Hellboy 2: The Golden Army.
I've never seen it. So.
I don't know if I agree with that. I love Hellboy 2: The Golden Army. I can kind of
their world is effectively dying or has died. And they're here to basically turn the current world into what their world should be. And they have relatives, siblings that are kind of on both sides of the fence and seeing the perspective, but they kind of lean more good than they do kind of bad. It just, I don't know. The whole time I was watching it, from the minute that reveal happened with the third sister, I was just like, Dave, I love that movie too, but man, couldn't you have done something just a little further out from that? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just the idea that set in my head early on and I couldn't shake it. And I just started looking for more parallels as it went on. I was like, yep, there's another. Yep, there's another. And I don't know. I could never let go of it from the time that happened.
All right. It didn't cross my mind. And again, I can kind of see what you're saying, but I didn't feel it was quite that egregious, but fair enough. I liked the villains in the movie. I
did too.
I like.
Guess what? I like the villains in Hellboy 2: The Golden Army too. So I like the creatures, which a lot of the creatures felt kind of similar-ish to me, because there was like some trollish elements to like the Cyclops and stuff like that. So I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm not saying Sandberg just wholesale ripped it, but sometimes you get those things buried in the back of your mind that come out in front and you don't even realize it. I just couldn't shake that. I just could not do it. Okay. But again, I like the villains. I like the creatures, other than those stupid effing unicorns, which we'll get to that eventually.
Oh, they were awesome.
Taste the rainbow, motherfucker.
That probably got the biggest laugh out of me in the whole movie.
Did that line need to be in the movie? Are we serious with this?
Funny as hell.
It was funny. It was a good one. I'm sorry. And here's the thing, Jamie, you're going to be shocked. For me, in this movie, the humor did not work as well as the first one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I thought there were a lot of groaners throughout, and I was like, oh God, and I'm rooting for you. I want to like you. I want to laugh at these lines, but some of these jokes were not good. But Taste the Rainbow Mother, that got me.
That was awful. That was straight up awful. That might have been my least favorite thing in the whole film.
No, I liked it. But
especially since the Taste the Rainbow line was just uttered like 40 seconds before that, it had no impact whatsoever for me. Other than saying, okay, guys, that family film thing's kind of pushing it here, but whatever.
And having Darla say it. Anyway.
Dude, Darla was so charming in the first one. Grown-up form and child form. And I loved her. She was one of my favorite parts about the first movie. And in this movie, I was just like, okay, just give me the grown-up Darla back now. I'm done with you. Go away.
Well, they definitely focused more on the adult versions of the Shazam in this. And I mean, story-wise, you can understand why Freddy was the first to lose his powers, and he remains kind of child Freddy through most of the movie, because in terms of all of the kid actors, he was the best in the first movie. And you want young Freddy even though Adam Brody does a great job as superhero Freddy, or was it Captain Every Power or
Captain Every Power?
Captain
Yeah.
Every Power. Yeah, like Jack Dylan Grazer is just so damn good that you need him to be Kid Freddy in the movie, and again, he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He's the only one I think didn't take a step back in this movie,
and I think that's also why they made Grace play both, because she was not that we saw superhero Mary much in the first one, but she's a really good actress, so you want her to be in it, not that the adult body double essentially from the end of the first movie.
I always felt I wasn't involved when you guys had this discussion a few episodes ago, but I was always under the impression that these grown-up versions of them are their adult selves. Like, this is what they're going to look like in 15, 20 years. So her being the oldest and already, basically about 20 years old or whatever, she's an adult. She's done growing. She's done developing.
I talked about that on a recent episode, and that's how I kind of took it as well. I didn't have a problem with her being both, because she is now an adult. She's in college,
exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I don't see why there's been discussions happening. Well, I don't understand why she's the only one that does it. Well, I do, because she's the only one that's actually a grown adult at this point. So that's how I made it in my head, anyhow.
Yeah, the thing I was talking about before is, and I know that you guys have said it was missing a lot of emotion and heart that the first movie had. The example that stood out to me was early on in the movie, Billy won't call, what's her face? What's the mum's name? Rosa won't call her mum. And it's like, okay, well, where this is going. Like, he's going to say it at the end of the movie. It's kind of like the hands all in from the first movie. But it's kind of that rule of three in a movie, like that all hands in thing. They did it a couple of times. So at the end, when Billy instigates it, you're like, well, there's the payoff. That was a really sweet moment. They only do the mum thing once, really early in the movie, and then it doesn't come up again. And he says it at the very, just before the finale. And it's like, well, yeah, it's still a nice moment, but it could have been a lot more had they have built it up more during the course of the movie. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like
100%.
Yeah. I feel like a good portion of the stuff missing in this film or laying on the cutting room floor has to do with those foster parents.
Yeah, they disappear for most of the movie. And I said that with Catherine, is they're not in it much, which is a shame, because I love both of those actors. I think they're great. But this is the most egregious example of where the script lets them down, or maybe it's the editing, but where you're right. They set up this great emotional arc for Billy in that he's got this family, but because of his conflicted emotions about his mother in the past, and he's been burned by getting close to his mother in the past, he will not accept his foster mother as a true mother. That is such a great idea for an emotional arc.
Yeah,
but it is
they really need to hone in on it.
I don't even want to say it was half-baked. It was quarter-baked, because instead it's like one line of dialogue at the very beginning, and then he says it at the end. And had that been a thread that followed you through the entire movie, where he even maybe confides in Mary or Freddy about his mother, and that's why he can't be comfortable with Rosa or whatever, and then you get the payoff at the end, it could have been like a true emotional tear-jerking moment.
Come here so I can hug you, because you spoke to me. You spoke from my tongue right there.
Yeah. Jess cried, but she's a softie when it comes to boys and their mothers ever since having Henry. But listen, I get it, but it needed more. Like I said, and the best example is the all hands in from the first movie, because it's a running thread through the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was a strong emotional moment for me, and we're jumping all over the place here, but at the end when he's dead and she's crying and saying, "My baby," like that hit me in a place, it was strong, but all I could think to myself was, I'd probably be a slobbering mess right now if that would have been something other than one line prior to that moment.
Yes.
They got the scene at the very beginning when he says Rosa, and they do not have a scene together until the end when he calls her mom.
Yeah. I mean, her delivery of that and calling him my baby, like it's showing that this foster mother, this child did not come from her, but she loves that child like her own flesh and blood. And it's no different for her. In fact, she loves him more than his real mother did. And like all of that works for me, but damn it, set it up better than that. And I thought the line delivery was great. And again, it still punched me emotionally a little bit when she said it because I understood where she was coming from. But the development of that was just soft as baby shit, man. It was not good.
So it's one that thought Rosa got a bit of a glow up in this movie, though.
Oh no, for sure.
Oh boy, when they disturb her in bed and she's in her night clothes. Oh,
yeah. I mean, she could be my foster mom.
I would have no problem with that.
I mean, and I'm not, if I'm not mistaken, when we reviewed, God, I hate you guys. When we reviewed the first movie, I said the foster dad was the MVP, and I liked her in the first movie too. Yeah. I loved him, and then here I really wanted more of him than I got in the last movie, and I got like less than half of what I got in the first one.
Yeah, they're both. That's just it. They're both so good, and they were so underserved in this, and it was all underserved for the kids. Which again, I love the kids, but like you needed the right balance. In this movie, the balance was off. The first movie, the balance was perfect. You got just the right amount of everything about the siblings, the parents, Billy himself, Shazam, superhero fun, comedy. Like it was just a great balance. The balance is off here, and because of that, the parents are underserved. Even the kids are the siblings are underserved in a lot of it. And so I like that's the frustrating part because you had all the right pieces. You've got the right director. You've got the great cast. And you have these great ideas for what this story should be. And some of them are executed fine. Some of them are executed not so well. So to talk about that, there's the emotional arc between Billy and Rosa, which we all agree was not executed well. There is the arc with Billy having imposter syndrome and being, and now because he has a family, he is so afraid to lose that family. And at the same time, he relies on them because he doesn't believe he can do it himself. And that I think is done okay in the movie. Like, I think that's a solid thing, but I still think that there was room for improvement for even that journey for him. And then there was Freddy's arc of course he wants to be the superhero version of himself all the time because he's grown up, he's better looking, he can walk, he's got powers. And so he no longer thinks he's worthy as Freddy, as himself. And so he only wants to be the superhero version of himself. And he wrestles with that throughout the movie. And like that, I thought was done very well. And a lot of that I think is credit to Jack Dylan Grazer because he's so good. But I feel like ironically of those three emotional arcs, Freddy's is the one that was executed the best.
I agree.
I will say, I think I said when I gave my spoiler-free thoughts on the second last episode that I was concerned during the first third of the movie. And what did that for me? I guess it's kind of a bit of a superhero movie trope. And it's just not something I'm that interested in seeing where the last movie ended, the Shazamily appears right at the end for the finale and everything's great. And then cut to the very beginning of the next movie and the team is falling apart. They're fighting, that kind of stuff. I'm like, I just want to see the Shazamily be the Shazamily. I don't need to see them like instantly fighting. I understand in terms of the story it's been 2 years. For us, it's been 4 years. But do you understand what I mean? Like, I just didn't want to see that.
Well, I grasp, from my perspective, I can't say this is what they were going for in the film as far as the writing or directing, but from my perspective, kids hit an age where they don't do anything but fight. Yeah, my daughters are each other's best friends, and they do nothing but fight all day, every day. Both of y'all just go ahead and have another kid pretty soon, and in 12 years, let's check back in on this point to see if I'm right. So I don't have an issue with that, and I actually thought the bridge rescue thing was a lot of fun. In fact, I'd argue that might have been my favorite sequence in the whole film.
It was great.
And they were working together for the most part, and they were getting stuff done. So I'm like, hell yeah, we got a superhero team going on here. This is a good time. And I felt like that never came back together fully until near the end. And even then, I don't think it did it as well as the first movie did.
It's good to see Sandberg's wife survive turning into dust in the first movie.
Oh, really? Did you see Sandberg get picked up by a harpy?
Yes. Yeah,
that was awesome.
Sandberg's wife was the one in the car listening to Holding Out for a Hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, bitch, you got turned into dust in the last movie. Don't pretend I don't remember.
So I understand your point, Brendan, but I feel like they weren't even breaking up, which is why it didn't even bother me. It was less about them breaking up and more about like, yes, we do this as a team, but we also have our own lives. And Billy not understanding.
But that was the thing. When it started, I was concerned that that's what it was going to be. It was going to be the Shazamly all fractured. But it was as the movie went on, it's like, okay, you're not really doing that. That's okay. Yeah. But it just had that hint of it at the start. And I'm like, please don't go down this route, because that's not what I want to see.
For me, it's funny because you did say that on your spoiler-free reaction, and I did feel the same way as the first act. I'm like, this is fine, but I'm not loving it. And for me, it was just more, again, about a lot of those jokes just feeling kind of forced and lame. And I was just like, whoa, what's going on? Like, this isn't clicking for me. And then I think the bridge scene was where like, okay, this is a lot of fun. But like, there was still a lot of jokes in there that I just was like, oh, like these aren't great. And then it kind of hits its stride. And even so, like there's hits and misses, but then you just kind of tune into it and then it's a lot of fun. But yeah, that was my issue with the first act.
Well, the depth put into the jokes, I think, was lacking too. And I'll give you my best example of that. The pediatrician / psychiatrist scene was entertaining. It was humorous. You know, I wasn't like laughing out loud, but I had kind of a grin until it dawned on me later in the film when they mentioned his age. This kid's 4 months away or whatever number it was from being 18 years old, and he doesn't know the difference between a pediatrician and a psychiatrist.
I didn't have much of a problem with that. He's still a kid going to a doctor.
I mean, this isn't doing many favors for the Philadelphia public school system, if that's the case. I'm just saying.
Did you pick up the Annabelle cameo in that scene?
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Even Jess, who's never seen a second of an Annabelle film or any Conjuring film for that matter, was like, Annabelle. And I'm like, yep.
Yep, for sure.
That was cool.
I did appreciate the opening at the museum. I thought that was cool with Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu. And when they turned everyone into statues, like, I mean, to kind of speak to what you were saying earlier, Jamie, is like, even though it's a family friendly film, there are still some things where like there are stakes. And the fact that they smashed that nice guy from Peacemaker, what's his name? I forget his name. I was just like, oh, that poor guy. He was just trying to give a tour.
So many things in so many little.
He is. He's very Rizwan Manji is what his name is, from Schitt's Creek. But anyway, like I thought it was a good introduction to them, and I will say, and again, this is where I kind of push back on the Hellboy 2 references. Their plan is to come get their powers and get whatever that apple was. They call it the seed or something. I forget what they call it. And then leave and go rebuild their world elsewhere. That was their plan, and I appreciated that. That was Helen Mirren's plan. And Lucy Liu turns on her. And then speaking of siblings fighting, they get into that. I liked that turn of like Lucy Liu becoming the true villain in the end. I actually thought that was really fun. And when Hespera gets stabbed by the tail of that dragon, I didn't see it coming. That was great. Like, so I liked the turn in Calypso.
I tell you what, we knew about the big surprise cameo coming into it. Do you know who I got more of a surprise seeing, who I had no idea was in this movie?
Dietrich Bader?
I had no idea he was in it.
Neither did I, but he didn't last long either.
When he showed up.
Me too. I was so happy to see him, and then he dies.
And Jess was like, that voice. I'm like, I know. Yeah, that gave me a real thrill.
Yeah. So anyway, I liked the three villains, and I love that like Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu like have a fist fight with the Shazamily, and there is a moment where Shazam body slams Helen Mirren to the ground, And that made me laugh out loud because things I never thought I would see.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of glad that the turn happened the way that it did because, particularly with Anthea, Anthea,
Yeah.
just because I mean Rachel Ziegler, she's such a sweetheart, and I just can't imagine her playing bad. And obviously, the thing with Freddie, like that was just so sweet. And
Yeah.
you wanted that
Where
first
is she
arc.
from? Like everybody's talking
West
about
Side
her
Story.
like I should know her. Huh?
She was in West Side Story,
Oh, I
the
still haven't seen that.
Spielberg one.
Yeah.
That
And
was
now
her big
she's
break.
going to be Snow White in the live action remake.
Oh, well, I'm sorry for her then.
But West
I
Side
mean,
Story,
I'm sure she's going to make all the money from it, but I'm sorry for her creatively speaking.
but she was kind of plucked from obscurity to do West Side Story. She was amazing in
She
that,
was
and then
great in it,
now
yeah.
she's in this.
I just know a lot of the tweets that I've saw about the film, leading up to the release, like a couple days before. Everybody was talking about her. I'm like, who the hell is this? I have no idea who this is. But you know what? I think she did a really good job. I thought she was pretty well
She's a solid
a
actress.
standout performance in this film.
Yeah.
Just to jump to the end before I forget about it, I sent it to Andy the other day. I don't know if you spotted it, Jamie. At the end, when Wonder Woman does show up, it's a quick shot, but Freddy is just like mouth open, gaping, like just gawking at Wonder Woman. And Anthea,
I didn't catch that because I was probably too busy doing the same looking at her.
and Anthea flashes him this look. And the look that Jack Dylan Grazer does is so good. Someone's put it, I'll have to send it to you. It's so funny, but it's a blink and you miss it thing. But for me, it was one of the biggest laughs I got because it's just like, these two are obviously into each other. They've had their kiss moment. And then Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman shows up and Freddy's just like, holy hell. And the look she gives him is priceless.
So that got spoiled for me months ago.
The Wonder Woman thing, or?
Yes.
Well, yeah, we kind of all knew.
But then they had the thing with the dream, and I'm like, is Sandberg a magnificent genius, or did somebody just mistranslate what her role in this movie was? Which I found that pretty funny, actually. The Wonder Woman with Jaimin Hansu's head on it.
That was an absolute piss take of the headless Superman from the first movie. That was so deliberate, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Because, and see, this is where, I mean, obviously I wouldn't have got the TV spot over here in Australia anyway, but it was all over the internet. And, I knew that Gal was actually in it because there'd been the rumors, but then, the week before when that TV spot hit and then everyone was posting it all over the internet, I knew she was in it. So when that part happened at the start, I was cacking myself laughing just because I knew what it was doing in terms of taking the piss out of the first movie. But I know everyone wishes that they didn't know Gal was in it, but I did have that moment of like, okay, well, this is this moment. So when is she actually going to show up? And as the movie kept going, I did keep thinking, oh, it's going to be in a post-credit thing. And then the scene where she did show up, I knew she was going to show up because of the lighting. The lighting of the scene straight away. I'm like, well, this is where she shows up. I had the advantage of, I went with 5 people. Nobody else knew that Gal was in it in the party that I went with. So I did still get a kick out of it because I got to see their surprise. The part where, as it Anthea says, there's no gods left. And I just kind of whispered to Jess, I'm like, yes, there is. And then next second, and then the Wonder Woman theme kicks in. And Jess just looked at me and I just sort of gave a smile and a nod. She's like, did you know? I'm like, yeah, I knew. But I mean, even though I knew, I still, when she lands and her theme kicks in, you can't help but give a little, like fist bump. I did enjoy it, even though I knew.
Yeah, I agree. Like, here's the thing. We knew last year. Don't you remember?
Pretty much. Like, I knew it was a long time.
Like, it was like last year, Gal did one of those like picture a day end of year things or a picture a month or something like that.
Yes.
And there was a picture in there of her in the Wonder Woman outfit. And better internet detectives than I lined it up and they saw, whatever, July, I'm making that up, but whatever the month was, they were like, July. The only movie that was shooting in July was Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, any of us who are like super huge nerds and we talk about this shit every week on a podcast, like we already assumed she was in it. So that's why I'm not too mad for me. Cause I was like, I figured she was in it, and then I think that there was, and then there was a leak of like an action figure. So it was already mounting up.
The thing I read literally said something to and I don't remember exactly what the quote was, but it was something to the effect of Shazam's down and out. He's getting ready to go away, and Wonder Woman saves him, which is kind of what happened, but not really. So, I mean, I don't know. But I read that and I was like super pissed. I was like, why did I keep reading as soon as I saw Wonder Woman and Shazam in the same sentence? But
anyway. It happens. And so, I mean, it's still a great moment. I love that it's there. I think it's super fun. Like you, Brendan, I thought that the fake out with the headless Wonder Woman or the wizard Wonder Woman was pretty hysterical, especially again in context with poking fun at the headless Superman. But I will say, fortunately, Catherine, she didn't know, she wasn't spoiled, so that was a nice surprise for her. And that's the irony, is they put it in a TV spot, but like so many of us watch streaming stuff that a TV spot, TV spot doesn't mean what it used to. So I still think it was preserved for a lot of people. It's only, again, people like us who follow every little thing. And then also people like us who go on Twitter and we follow nothing but superhero nerds. And you've got people posting screenshots of the TV spot to say whatever they want to say about it. And then it's like,
what was the TV? I haven't seen any spot. What was the TV spot?
They full on put Wonder Woman in one of the TV spots.
Yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Nope. It was a week.
What is the matter with these people?
It's because the movie wasn't tracking well.
It was the week before release because they were trying to goose the opening weekend.
Yeah.
And Sandberg didn't seem thrilled about it. But basically he was like, listen, like, I wish this wasn't the case, but if it gets more people to see the movie, then so be it.
Yeah, but did it?
No.
Yeah. that's the issue.
The defense rests, Your Honor.
But it's still a great cameo. It made me happy. It made me smile. I love that they used the music. It made me happy to see her. So I still love that it's there. And
the fact that Billy, like, of course Billy would crush on Wonder Woman. Like, and the fact that he, can turn into Shazam. Of course a kid that age would think that he's got a shot. And he doesn't.
Yeah.
the bird letters or whatever. You got my bird letter.
Yeah.
I got a mild chuckle out of the, Freddy's after a 6,000-year-old girl and Billy's after a 2,000-year-old girl, and the stepmom just leans in and goes, "What's with our kids and older women?"
Yeah.
There was a part too where she's like, "I don't know how to parent in this situation." That was funny.
The other part that got a big laugh out of me was the letter to Hespera.
The pen.
Steve the Pen was like an interesting and unexpected element to this, but I thought it was a lot of fun. I think they had a lot of fun with it. It reminded me of it was very like Harry Pottery to me.
Yes.
But like I love that it takes everything down regardless. And so I loved watching Helen Mirren read the letter, including all of the commentary of them discussing what should be in the letter and then not proofreading it. That, aside from Taste the Rainbow, that got the biggest laugh out of me.
Yeah. And just Helen Mirren's, Helen Mirren delivery of it is pretty cool.
Everything is improved with Helen Mirren. Everything.
I mean, she kicks Shazam right across the damn town, and I love that. And I also I like the scene. I mean, it was in the trailers, but I appreciated the elongated scene of him going, "Hey, we don't know you. Like, it's nothing personal," and her going, "Imagine someone came to your house," and like her spelling it out and her going, "It's very personal," was great. She's so good. And then that leads to, "You are very menacing," which I really enjoyed too.
Was that really the best we're going to get for Tawny? Was the kitten?
I mean, at this point, yes.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, I even thought when they captured her and she escaped so easily, I was like, do they really think that cell is going to hold her? It's not like they took her powers away. Like she is, she's still got everything she can do. So, but
that's the kid side of it, I think. Like
exactly right. They don't realize. Yeah.
I did
Well,
like
going
how
back
they
to what
had
I was
the
just saying, the thing with the kittens, that kind of made me laugh at the bridge rescue because she's like, "Oh my gosh, kittens!" and she takes the kittens and flies away and saves them first, and then comes back for the people.
yeah.
Because that's something my daughters would have done at that age. I promise you.
Yeah.
I love how they decked out the Rock of Eternity too.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I love that they made it their little, their lair, but it's totally like, a kid and teenager lair.
Yes, and the googly eyes on the seven deadly sins.
Well, exactly. Yeah, dressing up the seven deadly sins is
Best use
super
of
fun.
googly eyes in a movie this 12 months anyway.
We might want to pump the brakes on that one there, pal. I don't know.
I'm just teasing you. But it did make me laugh. Seeing the giant ass googly eyes on one of the seven deadly sins.
Hey, did you guys know that rock with the googly eyes on it that was actually in the movie sold for $60,000?
I did because you've posted it several times.
I still can't get over how much that stuff went for. Anyway,
I agree. I like the Rock of Eternity. I like how they decked it out.
How
made it their own.
Billy's / Zach's chair had the beaded seat cover that you'd see in taxis.
Yeah.
That made me laugh. It was just something small, but it's like the old beaded seat cover.
Yep. We mentioned the creatures. I want to mention them again. I love that it was a collection of Greek creatures. Mm-hmm. So the Cyclops, the Harpies, the unicorns, the Minotaur, and they all looked so good. Like, I want a little action figure set of just them because the designs I think were spot on. They looked great. And I thought that was such a great touch to give us, they had 7 sins they had to live up to from the first movie, and giving us just a whole army of Greek creatures were awesome. And I even liked the Daughters of Atlas's, muscle men guards. Like, the designs on them were great. Like, as far as eye candy goes, this movie delivers. I love the creatures, and then the dragon looked amazing. So all that stuff I thought was really damn cool.
And to reiterate the point you guys were talking about on the last episode, that's a lot of damn movie for that price range in today's day and age.
Yeah.
And it all looks really good. Like, you guys mentioned it before. So again, I don't know why I'm bringing it up, because you guys said most of my thoughts. There's no corners cut here. Sandberg squeezed every penny dry of his budget to get that thing put on film. And it looks great.
Doesn't he? Designs them. Am I remembering that rightly?
I don't know.
I thought he designed all the creatures.
Well, even in the first movie, there were a couple of shortcuts, just the yellow streak when he's moving or stuff like that. It's clever shortcuts. It's not things that make the movie look cheap. It's just things that if you're paying attention, you can see. Or the 7 deadly sins communicating telepathically versus moving their mouths. That's cutting tens of thousands of dollars off of your visual effects by not having to make those mouths move. And that's a brilliant stroke to do that. Yeah. And this movie takes full advantage of every penny again. It literally looks as good or better than any $2 to $250 movie I've seen.
Yep. Yeah. I agree. And what's funny is, even just the way the story is written about the Daughters of Atlas coming back to take their powers back, we knew that from the trailer, and that is what happens. I really expected, I figured we'd get that big bridge family scene at the beginning, and then everyone but Billy would lose their powers, partly because of the story, but partly to save money. Because that's where I thought it was going, where it's like, oh, okay, we're going to get this cool big action scene, but then they're all going to lose their powers, and then it leaves only Billy left, and that's a way to save money. But even though that does happen throughout the movie, it's not like I thought it would be, because all of the other members of the Shazamily still get their moments to power up and to fight and to be part of the action. And some of them lose their powers at different points, but then they gain them back, and then they're back in the action. And so, I think they were really smart about giving you enough of everybody, but still making it Billy's movie.
Yes, agreed.
So I really appreciated that, because from the last trailer, I assumed where it was going.
But you don't want to bench the Shazamily through the whole thing.
Right. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, again, what did you think of the mid and post credits?
Oh, I agree with what you said about that's where it comes in that it's a shame, we're not going to get more.
Well,
That's where,
particularly now. And I
yeah,
said
that's
that
where it
before the
stings.
box office. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're the one who said it last time. Is as far as this movie goes, you can enjoy it regardless if we get another one, because the movie stands on its own, and that's great. But setting up the JSA and Shazam joining the JSA, I think is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, knowing what we know of who it was supposed to be is frustrating and annoying.
Yes.
And I do want to say something about that in a second. So let's come back to that. I don't want this to snowball into all of the off-screen drama, because I want to talk about the movie.
Can't talk about it without touching on it, though.
Yeah, but there is something I do want to say about it, because I think, anyway, we'll get to it. But if this was continuing and that's where they were going, is to combine the JSA from Black Adam with Shazam, I think that's a lot of fun. I didn't mind that it was those two from Peacemaker, but it's obviously not as exciting as two superheroes showing up. But it was fun. And then the post-credit scene, to me, honestly stings worse.
Yes.
Because I had faith that Sandberg would at least give some sort of nod or reference back to the post-credits, or I guess it was the mid-credit scene from the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And to save that for the post-credit scene here, I love that, no, we didn't forget about Savannah. We didn't forget about Mr. Mind. And so to know that we're not going to get that paid off, I think annoys me more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Because it was nice to see it. It was nice to get that nod back and go, no, don't worry. We still have plans for these guys. And
I certainly didn't expect to see Savannah again in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, good on Mark Strong for,
popping in for a day.
Filming. Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I feel about the post-credit scenes. I like them, but it sucks that the mid-credit scene did not, get to be as envisioned, and the post-credit scene, it sucks that we're not going to get another.
Harley agrees.
Harley is so mad about the post-credit scene. I got a text from Catherine that says she's mad that I won't let her run down the stairs naked.
God, Catherine,
we've all been there, right?
Got to learn someday. Anyway, Jamie, what did you think of the mid and post-credit scenes?
I could have frankly taken or left either and both. I just, all that to make a Justice League, Justice Society joke and set up something that we're never going to get in all likeliness is not amazing to me. The two characters from Peacemaker that probably 3 people in my theater would have even had any idea of. And by the way, there was only like 9 people in my theater anyway. It just, and then as far as the Savannah Mr. Mind thing, was it a different credit scene than we got in the last movie? Because it really felt like a lot of the same stuff being rehashed there. I mean, I know it was different. I know it's not the exact same thing, but it's like, give us something a little different. Like have Mr. Mind breaking him out of the cell or something. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have a problem with either one of them, but at the same time, I'm just like, why? What's the point?
Yeah, I know. Brendan, what about you?
Look, yeah, for me, the mid credits was like, I didn't really find any of the jokes in that funny. For me, it was the implication of what it could come in the future.
Yeah.
And putting Shazam in the JSA, I don't want to blow the doors off this, and I don't want it to get bogged down in the conversation of all the off-screen shit. I'm just talking about strictly the films and the story that they're telling. Putting Shazam in the JSA, you think would then lead to Shazam seeing Black Adam. Like that would make sense because, JSA is tied to the Black Adam movie. Overall, with this movie, like, look, the 3 sisters were great villains and stuff like that, but Black Adam should have been your villain in this movie. Like, it should have been. Like, you've had Savannah in the first movie. The second movie should have been like, I don't want to say the Dark Knight of the Shazam movies. I obviously don't mean tone or whatever, but I mean, like, bring in the big bad. Like, bring in Shazam's Joker is the point I'm trying to make there, using the Dark Knight as a reference. It should have been, like, regardless of who was playing him, regardless of if there was a solo movie before or after or whatever, this should have been Shazam versus Black Adam. If The Rock was Black Adam, I don't know if that would have helped the box office at all. I honestly don't know, but it's disappointing to me that, and it just blows my mind that you've got these two characters that are so tied together. They wear the same fucking costume, for God's sake, and they don't even mention each other's names on screen. It's just bizarre to me. And I know there's been a lot of talk this week about why that is and who's to blame, and egos here and egos there. Not the point that I'm trying to make, but you guys know where I'm coming from.
I don't even want to talk about it. So,
well, you're going where I wanted to go.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. There's, yes, there's this article that came out saying, here's what folks wanted to do. And it was not, it got blocked one reason or another. And let's take there's going to be some blame in here, but allegedly, let's just assume it's all allegedly. We had Shazam 1, a movie that we all love, right? We had Shazam 1, and there was going to be a Superman cameo in it. And the powers that be said, no, Henry Cavill's not our Superman anymore. And so they couldn't have. And then again, maybe he was willing to do it, and then he asked for too much money. There was all those stories and rumors, and I don't know what the truth is. The point is they wanted to have it, but because of drama and politics and God knows what else, they couldn't have it, right? Mm-hmm. You also had a Shazam movie where they teased Black Adam, but The Rock didn't want to appear in it. And so you have like a CG kind of Rock looking Black Adam that they don't show his face, but it's more or less The Rock, but he's not in it. Then you've got a Black Adam movie, which I really liked. But a Black Adam movie that, the Wizard Shazam is in it. They say the word Shazam.
Don't they? Several times.
But apparently Shazam, the character, was supposed to cameo in it. And The Rock said no, allegedly. And so you've got a Black Adam movie that incorporates elements of the Shazam mythology, but refuses to incorporate Shazam himself. And now you've got Shazam 2. And where you could have a Black Adam cameo. But Black Adam doesn't want to do it. Allegedly. And you've got, you could have a Justice Society cameo that apparently also gets blocked by The Rock or whoever else. So here's my point. My point, and because of all of this conversation, because of all this drama, you've got people going, oh, this kneecapped both franchises. This hurt both franchises. Both franchises made less money than they would have otherwise if that had not been the case. And then you've got another group of fans going, doesn't matter. Box office would be what it, no matter what happened, it wouldn't have saved the box office of Shazam 2. Maybe that's true. But here's my point is you've got three franchises here that are all intertwined. You've got Shazam, Black Adam, and Superman. And because of Warner Brothers' dysfunction, there is a wall built between these three franchises. So imagine a world where we go back to 2019. That's 2019, right? 2019, and we watch Shazam. And in that Shazam movie, you've got a cameo from The Rock teasing Black Adam, and you've got a real Superman cameo. Now fast forward to 2022, and you've got a Black Adam movie with a cameo from Superman and a cameo from Shazam, setting up their eventual adversarial relationship. And then you've got Shazam 2, even if Black Adam wasn't the main villain, but now if you have a Shazam 2 where Black Adam has a smaller supporting role to further set up the rivalry, see how it could have been different if all of those things could have worked together? Mm-hmm. Who knows what that would have meant for box office? None of you know. I don't know. Brendan doesn't know. Jamie doesn't know. Anybody out there who says they think they know, you don't. None of us know. But it sure as hell would have been a better place and a cleaner way to build this universe and let these different characters support each other in these franchises than what we got. Because what we ended up with is a Black Adam franchise and a Shazam franchise that aren't allowed to interact. Are you crazy?
It makes no sense. absolutely blows my mind.
And I like all three of those movies. That's not the point. The point is, if you could have taken away these stupid barriers that were all because of ego politics and bullshit, you could have had Shazam, Black Adam, and Superman all mixing it up in these movies,
And it's
and
meant
it
to
could
be a
have been
connected
awesome.
universe. They're
Yeah.
meant to, like, they are in the same universe. It just blows my mind.
And that's all I have to say about that.
But yeah, I'm with you with the box office thing. Like, who knows? That's not for us to comment on. But just in terms of like a cohesive story that incorporates everyone and would leave the fans completely satisfied, because yeah, like, I mean, they had to make up these villains for a Shazam movie when there's these really cool villains that one of them's got their own friggin' movie already that's already established, and you can't use them. It just doesn't sit right with me.
Yep. But here's another point. It's a perfect example. It's a perfect microcosm example of what James Gunn said months ago about how none of these people were working together. None of these people were on the same page. And there it is.
Yeah, very true. But I, there's been a lot of finger pointing this week, and that story coming out, and then Zach saying essentially like, yes, this is true. They're not blaming the lack of cameos or not being able to use certain characters for the disappointing box office.
No, absolutely not.
They're pointing out to the fans who are complaining that these things didn't happen. They're just going, but this is why it didn't happen.
Here's why.
We wanted it to happen. We did everything we could to make it happen, but we weren't allowed. They're not blaming the poor box office on a cameo that couldn't happen.
Exactly.
They're just trying to set the story straight.
That's exactly it. I completely agree. Like, yes, and I've seen people putting words in people's mouths. Who would have thought? Yeah, basically saying, oh, they're scapegoating because of the poor box office. No, they're not. They're saying, here's what happened.
Yeah. And it made me laugh.
Here's why the franchises aren't overlapping. Here's why.
Before,
and here's the thing.
You mentioned Gal posting the thing on Twitter and I'd totally forgotten about that, which makes what's happened this week even more ridiculous, where Sandberg had to come out and prove that it wasn't a deep fake.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, guys, he directed. Gal is in it. Like, what? I don't understand. Oh man, yeah. It's been a rough week. I know we didn't want to go there too much. We're
I mean, I don't want to get too in the weeds of the drama, but I at least thought it was worth acknowledging how effed up the thing is that you've got three of these really great characters played by really great actors that were not allowed to be in the movies together. And I want to go on record again of saying I really like Black Adam. I like that movie a lot. And
I thought it was fun.
I still like The Rock. So I'm not trying to paint The Rock as a villain here. And as much as I like The Rock, do I believe that he thought him and Black Adam were above Shazam? Yes. Yes, yeah, I do. Of course I do. Listen to every interview he gave when Black Adam was coming out. And that doesn't mean I don't love him. And that doesn't mean I don't think he was great as Black Adam. But do I believe that? Yeah. Yeah, I do. Listen to the man. So
I don't understand how you can be such a Black Adam fan like he claims to be and not be a Shazam fan.
Yeah.
Like, it's like liking the Joker but hating Batman. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, hit the brakes there, because Venom is like top 5 Marvel character for me, and I despise Spider-Man.
Yeah, well.
So anyway. Well, that is for sure. You can take that to the bank. But anyway, yes, like all that drama aside, like it shows how dysfunctional things have gotten, and that's why, as bummed as I am about the box office of Shazam, do I think it deserves it? No, I don't. But it also shows that, like, if we can clean things up and make things work together, we are in need of it.
Mm.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Like, I sent it to you guys in our group chat, and I ended up posting it on Twitter the other day. Like, I went into a pop culture store in Australia called Zing, and usually when there's a new comic book movie, even they do tend to focus more on Disney branded stuff. when there is a new DC movie, they usually do tend to have a small section of merchandise for it, and there was one for Shazam. And I hadn't had a chance to get into the store since the movie came out. I went in on Thursday, literally a week to the day since the movie came out here in Australia, and already the Shazam stuff, there was half price signs on all of it, and I'm just like, it just broke my heart. Broke my heart to see it, because it's just like, guys, no one's giving this movie a chance. Like, even the retailers aren't giving this movie a chance, and it's like,
well, it's like what I said
so
on a
sad.
recent episode is when a movie gets the whiff of a bomb, there's no turning it around. That becomes the narrative, and that's that. I don't think it's fair that it happened with this movie, but that is what's happened with this movie. Is the story is Shazam 2 bombed, and because of that, people who might have given it a chance, they're not going to anymore.
But
And they all jump on the wagon of kicking it while it's down.
Yes.
So even that one account whose name I can't pronounce that we follow for the box office stuff, all I've seen from that account for about 4 straight days is comparing Shazam 2's box office to Morbius's box office and saying how Morbius has basically kicked its ass to this point.
But stuff
So they're
like,
just hitting buttons on people that they know are going to get them wound up and stirring and get clicks and whatever else. And it's so annoying because people are washing their hands of this movie when they literally never even got them dirty by watching it or given it the chance or anything else. Like, I was so mad about the shit that happened with Morbius last year or whenever that was. I purposely got my ass up off the couch and went to the theater to see it just out of spite for that shit, because it makes me crazy.
did the same
And they're doing the exact same thing with this movie they did with that one. And it's just, listen, I have problems with this movie, obviously. I've talked about it for 45 minutes or whatever it's been. But it's not a bad movie. It's not. It has issues. It has problems. But guess what? Most movies do.
all of them do. Not every movie can be Rear Window.
No.
Like, the question I was going to ask, and you guys would know this more than me, like, to me, obviously, like, stuff like the Eternals and Ant-Man 3, like, they didn't do what business was expected from them. But I personally didn't see, like, a week solid of every day just people coming out and taking a giant dump on those movies because they were underperforming. Is it just me, or does this happen more to DC movies than other ones?
It ain't you.
I guess what I will say is, of course, people are harder on DC. Come on, we've been living it for 10 years now. Of course. But even Quantumania's underperformance, and make no mistake, it's not even going to hit what the first Ant-Man made in 2015, which is crazy. But it still opened at $100 million. Yeah. You know, like, yes, it underperformed, but it didn't flop. And there's a difference.
Yeah.
But yes, there's also, there's also a bias, and we know that. So,
but look, at the end of the day, I went to the movies last Saturday to see a Shazam movie, and I did, and I had a ton of fun watching it, and I walked out happy. F me, right?
Yeah. Same. I had a good time with it. It was, fun's not a bad word. It's part of the entertainment value thing I expect. Like John Wick last night, my son and I were laughing like maniacs, just like we did with the last one. I mean, it's just, we go to the movies to be entertained, guys, and this movie's entertaining. It's a really good time. It's mostly family friendly. There was a few things that were questionable in that part.
Yeah. Do you want to expound on that? Because really,
the Taste the Rainbow Mother, that was, pushing the envelope with it. There was a scene where one of the unicorns impales like the Cyclops or whatever it was. That was, and I know this is like, fantasy creatures versus like human beings doing it to each other. But still, that's kind of a graphic thing for a, quote, family-friendly movie. There was one or two others that were kind of along those lines where I felt like they were just towing right on the edge of it.
Rosa in a nightgown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. My point was, it's worth, from my perspective, I can't speak for everybody because I can see why there are some people out there that would legitimately not like this movie. Because there were people who apparently legitimately didn't like the first one, and I don't agree with that because I gave it a 9 out of 10. I mean,
There's only one. There's only one person who doesn't like the first one, and that doesn't count.
okay. At any rate, it just, I don't know. I feel like if you're like, well, I'll probably watch it when it hits HBO Max, or I'll check it out on a iTunes rental or something like that. I get that because I'm like that with some movies too. I just, I'll wait.
I'm doing
I
that
can
with
wait.
John
I don't have to spend $15 to go to the theater and 3 hours of my time, 2 hours of my time, whatever. I can wait. I'm patient about it. I can see that perspective, but when people are just straight up dropping trout and shitting on a movie that they haven't seen anything but a trailer for to this point, and they're just taking everybody else's word as gospel and saying that the box office results are telling them all they need to know about the quality, which I'm the last person in the world you want to have that conversation with. I promise you that. It bothers me. It just freaking bothers me.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like this film deserves it. I legitimately don't feel this film's anywhere near that kind of a level where, I'm ready to get the torches and pitchforks out and say, F you guys for ever putting this on the screen. Because it's not. I mean, it's not even close.
I think might have even been the last episode we did together, Andy, with one of the last questions we had. But I mentioned, like, look, for the most part, I'm done with the Marvel franchise. It's the last movie I saw in the cinema was
No Way Home.
No, I saw that at home. Was the first of the last two Avengers movies. Not Endgame.
Infinity
War. That was the last one I saw in the cinema. I've been catching the ones that I want to see on Disney Plus, but even now, like with all the shows and everything, like it feels like it's too much homework now. And I don't have any interest in them, and I don't care to see them. But you know what? I just don't see them. I don't get on Twitter every day and carry on about why I don't want to see it, why you shouldn't see it as well. Like, I just don't care. I just don't say anything. I don't understand the need for people to get on, just be so vocal about something that if they don't care about it, then shut up about it, because clearly you do. That's the irony of it all. I think we said before we started recording, like, people are going on these tangents on social media saying that Zachary Levi is having a meltdown and stuff because of his video he did yesterday, and it's like, you're the reason why he feels he has to come out and say something in the first place. Like, just shut up. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. We wanted to watch it, and we did, and we had a good time.
Well, if you expect everyone on Twitter to be as enlightened as you, Brendan, you're setting yourself up for some big disappointment.
I know.
But I understand the point, and that is, and yes, that is the frustrating thing. But yeah, I mean, people like to kick something while they're down, and that's what Shazam 2 has become, unfortunately, because as we all said, it doesn't deserve it. And I hope that when it hits, when it hits home and when it hits HBO Max and whatever, that people will give it a chance. And I hope that they're entertained by it, because that's what the movie deserves. That's what this team deserves.
I agree.
The David Sandberg Twitter thread was heartbreaking because he stood by the movie. He said he loved the movie. He thought it was a good movie, and he doesn't regret it. But like, there was like this really kind of sad undertone where he's like, but I'm done with superheroes for a while. And it's like, dude, like, we just drive off another one? This guy's awesome. Yeah. I mean, he's so talented. And like, I wish him best in no matter what he does, but man, I'm like, we can't keep driving off these great creatives from the superhero genre because fandom is so damn mean.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's just crazy to me. And again, to your point, same thing with Zachary Levi. People have been shitting on that dude for months. And because he decides to make a video to defend himself, now you're going to use that against him? Come on, give the guy a break.
I love him. Even before he was Shazam, I love him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Catherine told you on the last episode, she spent time with him, and apparently he's a lovely guy. So, you know, and what?
He's Eugene from Tangled, so he's always got that.
Yeah. So anyway, all that as aside, is the movie is a lot of fun. It's entertaining, and there's a lot to like about it. It's not perfect. There are things that hold us back, and that's a bummer, because I did want it to be one of those sequels where it's like, oh, it's everything you love about the original and more. and I think that's what it was trying to do, but then I think it bit off a little more than it could chew.
It's
But
most things you love about the original.
yeah, but it's also one that I'm going to be happy to revisit and pop on when I'm bored, and it's a ironically like Black Adam. It's like watching a big comic book on screen, and that's fun.
I think Catherine said it best when she said, I don't see myself visiting this one on its own a lot, but as a double feature with the first, I think I could see myself doing that. I agree with her 100% in that perspective.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I think as the years go on, perhaps, like obviously when it first hits, because it's the new movie, I'll probably watch it a few times on its own. But yeah, in the years to come, I do think I'll obviously revisit that first one more just because it's that little bit better. And then after that, I'll be like, I like these guys. I want to watch some more.
I think that's it. I think that, like, again, the cast is so charming that you just want to spend time with them. They're so likable, and they're easy to be around. And that's what honestly, that's what the movie is. It's likable and easy to be around, but not particularly challenging or deep.
I think that's fair.
One thing, just because we never mentioned it, we appreciated the moment where Pedro came out. I appreciated that.
That was so beautifully handled.
Yeah,
I appreciated that so much. And he just kind of like mumbles it, and he's like waiting for some backlash, and they're just like, dude, we know.
it's cool. Yeah,
I thought that was perfect.
Yeah. So it was nice. I mean, it was heavily implied in the first movie. I appreciated that they committed to it.
Yeah. His obsession with baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball in inverted commas. Yeah.
So yeah, I liked that moment too. So yeah, overall, good time. Let's do some closing thoughts and some letter grades. Jamie, go for it.
My opinion, I think it's worth your time, your effort, your money, whatever. If you want to wait till it's, out at home and check it out and figure that out, great. But it just, I don't know. It kind of makes me sad because I feel like this movie's being treated unfairly at this point because too many people are too dependent on other people's opinions instead of formulating their own. And, everybody's guilty of that at some point or another. But at some point, put your foot down and say, hey, I'm going to decide for myself. And whether you do that in a theater, whether you do that on HBO Max, rental, whatever, I think you owe it to yourself to at least give it a chance. Because I had a good time with it. I'm going to buy the movie when it comes out. I'm probably not going to pay full price for it, full disclosure. I'll probably buy it when it's on sale for $10 or whatever. But because right now the pre-order price is like $25. I'm like, no, I ain't doing that. But I wouldn't do that for hardly anything. So to be fair, I think the cast is excellent pretty much across the board. I can't think of any performance moment specific in anywhere in the film where I was like, okay, maybe we needed another take there or something like that. I don't feel like that. I think the cast was just overall outstanding. I appreciate that. I think it does have some of that heart of the first one. It just doesn't have all of the heart of the first one. And that's probably my biggest disappointment for the film. But the spectacle is there. The stuff you go to a lot of these, capes and flying movies to see is there, and it's there on full display and looks great in the process. So, I mean, I think it just saddens me that I think it's being treated this unfairly. So just to cut to it, speaking in a position of trying to be as objective as I can, but still letting my heart speak out a little bit, I think I'm going to land this one right at a B.
All right. Well, then I'll just jump in real quick because we are in sync. For me, it's a B as well, for all the reasons I said. The spectacle is there, the fun, the entertainment is there, the cast is there, and I just feel like there was good, solid material missing that would have made the emotional beats really resonate, and maybe that stuff got cut out in favor of the spectacle, but it's not in the movie, and I do think that the movie suffers for it, but it's still a hell of a good time. So, same, B. Brendan?
Yeah, look, I think I'd probably have to go a B as well. I'm just trying to sort of do the conversion of my letterbox stars to a letter rating.
I do that too.
So, I mean, Shazam, I gave 4, like a solid 4 out of 5, and I'd class that as an A movie. I think I gave it an A when we reviewed it. See, this one I gave 3.5. So I don't know if you'd class it as a B plus or a B, but
3.5 is a B plus for me, just so you know.
To me, if there was somewhere between like a B and a B plus, it'd sort of be right in there. It's not, but look, same as you guys said, like And I think I said at the start of the podcast, I think I enjoyed it that little bit more just because I don't think I had as high expectation going in. As much as I love the first one, the three sisters as the villains and stuff, I was just kind of like, oh, I don't know. And they said the first third of the movie had me a little bit going, I don't know if I'm going to like where this is going. And then the movie found its feet and it didn't go where I thought it was going to go. And I ended up having a good time at the cinema. And I know you said in the last episode, Andy, it's sort of faint praise when saying it's fun, but it is fun. Like sometimes I just want to go to the movies to watch a comic book movie or any movie that's fun.
When did that become a negative, bad term?
Right? Like I just want to escape for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. Like if all I can say after I walk out of a movie is it was fun, to me it did its job. So
let me ask you this: do you guys go to theme parks a lot? Do you go to the theme park to be psychologically stimulated and darkened and real existential kind of stuff, or what is it you guys go to the amusement parks for again? What's that word? I can't think of it right off the top of my head.
Fun.
Fun. Yeah, that's it.
There's nothing wrong with fun, and yeah, I think this movie deserves your time. Whether you go see it at the cinema or whether you're going to wait to watch it at home, just watch it and make up your own mind, and don't listen to everybody else, but listen to us because we're giving it a B.
Well, there you go. All in sync. Bees all around. Everyone gets a B. Well, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. It's a shame it's not doing better. It is a shame that it is getting kicked while it's down, but it's a good time. It's a fun movie. If you want a good, fun comic book movie, go check it out.
I just
or
want
check
to
it out when it comes.
Just thinking about it, then there's not many sequels really that people put above the original. So the fact that it is a little less, lesser than the first one, that's not a bad thing either. That's kind of just what sequels are.
I mean, to quote Randy from Scream 2, by definition, they're inferior films.
Right?
Hey, my favorite film of all time is a sequel.
I know it's not.
House 2, the second story, you're right, is the exception that proves the rule.
It's an exception, not the rule.
All right. Well, that's Shazam! Fury of the Gods. A lot about the movie and a little bit about the other stuff because you can't avoid it completely. But I'm glad that we all had a good time with it. Yeah, and like I said on the last episode, like if all I have is this Shazam double feature, I'm pretty damn happy for it because it's a fun as hell double feature.
Mm.
And that's not bad.
Get Catherine and get Zach to come on the show, man. We'll cheer him up.
I don't think she knows him that well.
You never know until you try.
That's true. It's true. All right. Well, let's check in with you fine feathered finks and crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
Darren. What is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all, Master Wayne.
All right, now before we get to the emails, I have a quick little heads up for y'all. In case some of you guys are like, I don't care about the emails. I'm going to hit stop now, whatever. We have a contest coming up. We do. Yeah, this is news to you guys. I haven't even told you all this. Someone was nice enough to contact us, and that someone was WB. And they provided us a few codes for to own the new DC animated movie Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham digitally. So, a few of you lucky listeners are going to be able to own the new animated DC movie digitally, get a digital movie. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the giveaways that we usually do. So I'm giving you the heads up. If you don't follow us on Twitter, go follow us on Twitter. Holy BatCast, at Holy BatCast. Because after this episode is posted, I'm going to put it out there about Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham, and I'm going to let you know that's the contest, and all you have to do is be following us on Twitter and retweet that tweet. And then from everybody who retweets it, I'm going to choose a few winners. So keep your eye out. If you're listening to this, that means that the episode is published. So keep an eye out in about 24 hours from publishing. I'm going to send that out on Twitter, and keep an eye out, retweet it, make sure you're following us, and then I will choose the winners, which we will announce on the next episode. So
Do I qualify for this?
maybe I can get you a code.
Conflict of interest, Jamie.
I know some people, so
Brendan, you shut your pie hole. It doesn't work the same way here as it does in Australia.
So anyway,
right, it doesn't.
So anyway, a big thank you to WB for doing that for our listeners and for everybody out there listening who want to own the new animated Batman movie. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to our Twitter and you will get your chance. Now let's get to the emails. The first one here is from Andrew Owens. It says, "Hey there, Batcasters. I'm watching the Batman episode Q&A in preparation for your review. And while watching, I was getting Oogie Boogie vibes from The Nightmare Before Christmas about Cluemaster, mostly aesthetically speaking. So my question is this: what Disney villain do you think could give Batman a good challenge, either physically or mentally? Thanks for all your great work, Andrew." Thanks, Andrew. And you're right. The Batman's version of Cluemaster sure did look like Oogie Boogie.
I mean, what's a brother going to do when he eats mallow creams 3 times a day for 20 years, man?
Oh, God, I forgot. We didn't mention that, did we? His lifetime supply of those, and that's why he's so big.
Why look the way he did?
All right, but fun question. Worlds are colliding. A Disney villain who could give Batman a run for his money. Jamie?
I mean, if you're going to let me go first, I'm just going to steal what I already know your answer is.
Oh, was that?
Hades?
Oh, I mean, sure, yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of lame, though. Not that Hades is lame. That's not what I'm saying. I figured that's where you're going to go. So give me a second to think.
I mean, I do always go with Hades, but in this case, I feel like, Hades is better suited for Wonder Woman. So
I'm going to say, just because it's one of my favorite Disney movies, and I'm probably going to butcher his name because I haven't watched it in a minute, the Shadow Man from Princess and the Frog.
That's a great answer.
That's a good call.
Yeah, because he's like grounded enough that you could see him skulking around Gotham, but he still has supernatural elements. I like it. I'm into that. So yeah, Dr. Facilier.
Thank you.
Cool. Brendan, any thoughts?
I don't know if I'm going to be maybe stealing one of yours as well, but my mind went straight to Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, that's good. I like it.
The evil force that's sort of taking over the city, and not necessarily a physical match, but very much causing disruption to the world around him. Just an evil bastard.
All right, I'm going to give 2 answers. The first answer, I'm surprised you didn't say it, Brendan. Mother Gothel.
Okay, yeah.
Because Batman's got mommy issues because his mommy dead. Martha. And so Mother Gothel could manipulate him.
I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think she could survive a battering to the face, but I'd like to find out.
I'd like to see anyone who could.
And the other one, again, just because I'm thinking more like humans than I am like, Hades, like gods. Captain Hook. I love Captain Hook. And I feel like, especially if we're talking like Batman 66, I could totally see a pirate villain for Batman. So Captain Hook.
More the Filmation Batman that's just been released on Blu-ray. I could see a pirate villain for that kind of Batman for sure.
Exactly.
That's why I went to Frollo, because I was thinking more real world villain as opposed to mythical.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would also be fine with Maleficent showing up and turning into a dragon.
Yeah.
And Batman having to fight a dragon like Shazam. Yeah.
Oh, Bruce Wayne
would
versus
be
Cruella.
right,
The dollar versus the dollar. Yeah.
Who?
Medusa.
Cruella versus Bruce Wayne.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, honestly, because Disney villains tend to be very colorful and theatrical, most of them could fit pretty well with Batman. Fun. I even thought like Ratigan, if he was human-sized instead of rat-sized, like it would be kind of like a man-bat type thing.
That's kind of cool.
All right. Next email here. It's from Philip. It says, "Hey, Andy, and whichever awesome Batcaster is on today's show. I'm going to apologize like most for the long email, but I wanted to share some thoughts after listening for a while, and this being my first time writing in. Andy, forgive me and feel free to paraphrase or skip over any parts if you need to. Anyway, Holy BatCast is a fan-freaking-tastic show. It's made its way into my work life and personal life. Like most of you all feel like most, you all feel like my work friends that want to talk about Batman and the DC universe. This show keeps me up to date on DC news and provides entertainment to my work week. This past year, I've listened to countless episodes, old and new, and I feel like I have been a part of your lives through each episode. So I'd like to share some kind words coming from a complete stranger. Andy, each episode, your optimistic manner for good news or bad news is always welcoming with each episode. Along with the hard work and dedication is what makes this show so great for all of us fans, and it's greatly appreciated. Jamie, I've listened to enough episodes to notice that you were trying to not be that guy and express a more positive lifestyle. I don't personally know you, but I would like to applaud you on striving to be better. However, I always did enjoy hearing from that guy when it mattered.
I think we all did.
He still pops up
Still
once in
do,
a while.
yeah.
It's not near what it used to be.
Brendan, it's always fun getting to hear from your side of the world. The lover spats between you and Andy always gets me laughing at work, and I stand behind your love of the Batman animated series, even if no one else will, and I'm glad that you guys get to review it. Any other awesome Batcasters on today's episode or past episodes who aren't regulars, keep coming back. You all are just as much fun to listen to when the others can't make it. It just adds to the enjoyment and fun of hearing you all talk about Batman and the DC universe. Okay, questions. Since James Gunn has name-dropped the term Elseworlds for movies that sit outside the main universe, what are your favorite Elseworlds stories? I discovered the Elseworlds series years ago, and though most aren't the greatest, some are really fun concepts. I'm quite fond of the more popular ones, like featuring Batman, Superman, Justice League, and the Marvel team-ups. So which DC Elseworlds story would you like to see become a movie? I've enjoyed the ones recently, but I haven't seen The Doom That Came to Gotham yet. The rest have been fun. I will always welcome more Batman ones, but I hope that we see Superman speeding bullets eventually. Again, sorry for the long email. I just felt that it was time to become part of the conversation and step out of the shadows, as well as getting your opinions and thoughts. Thanks again for a Bat-tacular show and joy that you bring to the work week. Stay batty, Philip Faust. All right, Philip, thank you for the long email and for stepping out of the shadows and making yourself known. That's great. I'm glad that you found us and you've been enjoying it. That really means a lot, and I'm glad you enjoyed the show so much. It's terrific. So question about Elseworld stories. So Elseworld stories that are your favorites and you would like to see turned into movies. Jamie?
Honestly, I've been pretty blessed in that category because a lot of my ones that I tend to favor have already been done, at least in animated form. Dark Knight Returns, Superman Red Sun. I really like Justice League Gods and Monsters a lot. I seem to be like the only one that's like in love with that story, but I mean, I thought it was really solid. But another one that I think would probably qualify as an Elseworlds that I'd love to see adapted, at least in an animated form. And I think it's really more of an Elseworlds because it was done as a period piece, was a little mini series. I think it was 3 issues done a couple of years back called Superman versus the Klan. And I just had an absolute blast reading that. I mean, it was socially relevant. It was well done, well presented. And I'd love to see that brought to a motion media format.
All right. Brendan?
Superman's Secret Identity would be mine.
Oh, okay.
Are you guys familiar with that one?
I don't know. I recognize the name, but I don't know from where.
It's essentially a kid wakes up one day with Superman's powers. And in a world where the Superman comics exist. He exists as a fictional character. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's such a good story. I haven't read it for a couple of years, but oh yeah, I love it so much.
Nice. Oh man, I honestly don't have a great answer. I feel like Jamie, you hit on most of the ones that I would think of, because the most famous ones, to your point, have already at least made their way to animation, and those tend to also be my favorites. I will also say that I don't dive into a lot of Elseworlds unless it is something that becomes really famous, and then I'm like, oh, I got to read that. So stuff like Red Sun, Gotham by Gaslight, Dark Knight Returns, those type of things. Like I read those, I like those, I think they're great, and so, but they've all been adapted. So I don't think I have like a great curveball Elseworlds because I just don't read enough Elseworlds. Sorry.
I figured you'd say like what was it called? Red Rain or whatever, the Batman versus
Oh,
Dracula one.
yes, that's a great choice. Thank you. Yes, Red Rain's a good one. And Castle of the Bat, the Frankenstein one.
I don't think I've read that one.
It's fun. It's different, but it's fun.
Different's okay. I like
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. How about that? I'm down with that. Thank you. Thanks for the assist on that one. More Batman and Universal Monster stuff is really the point.
How about Superman versus Muhammad Ali? How come we don't have an animated version of that yet?
Yeah. The other one I was thinking of, and it's not really Elseworlds, but like it kind of is, and it's only because I was obsessed with it when it came out, was Armageddon 2001.
Oh yeah.
I was all into that. So I would love to see an adaptation of that in animation, especially because it's honestly, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like Flashpoint, because like they jump into all these alternate futures and you could have a lot of fun with that.
That thing was wild, man.
Oh God, I was obsessed with it that summer. Obsessed. All right. We're gonna do one more email here, and then we have a bunch of Shazam ones that we will save for our Shazam Q&A next time. So this email is from Steven. It says, "Hey lads, I hope you're keeping well. I just wanted to add to the best DCEU moments and scenes. Correct me if any of these have already been brought up, but I don't think they have. Number 1, new rules, the conversation between Alfred and Bruce in the Batcave in BVS. Great choice. And no, you're right. That was not brought up. Number 2, I take that as a yes. Clark and Lois on the Kent farm in Zack Snyder's Justice. Also not brought up. Also a great choice. Also, I was just so happy to see the non-green screen version of that scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League. You Are My World, Superman to Lois before sacrificing himself to Doomsday in BVS. Also did not come up, but yep, great choice. And the music in that moment, oh, it's so good. The conversation between Clark and Jonathan's ghost on the mountain in BVS.
Okay.
All right. And then finally, My Soul, that is what you have taken from me. Zod's speech to Superman before the final fight in Man of Steel.
That's a strong one.
Yeah. I will say, of these 5, that one was on someone else's list. But it, like, you know, when we did the listener results, it was on there somewhere, but obviously it wasn't like in the top 10 or whatever. But so you're not alone on that one. There were a couple other folks who had it. It just wasn't enough to bump it up into the.
I see what you did there. He talked about Zod and you said you are not alone. I caught what you were throwing down there.
Yeah. It says, anyway, thanks for reading. I'm looking forward to the Flash, Bat Hangers, and Joygasms forever, Steve.
You know, talk of BVS just reminded me, the last 24 hours, it's been 7 years since that movie came out.
I noticed that in my Facebook memories today, man, because I had like 9 posts about it that day.
Oh my God.
7 years. And it felt like the 3-year wait was so freaking long between Man of Steel and BVS. Now it's been 7 years since the movie came out.
Gosh, that means we're only like, what? Man of Steel came out June of 13, was it?
Yeah.
So that means we're
almost at 10 years.
Roughly 90 days away from not only the 10-year anniversary of that movie, but the 10-year anniversary of the first time Andy and I met face to face.
Our anniversary's coming.
It is.
So
I'll get you some flowers and candy, baby.
All right.
Jamie get a few marks on his tally score.
Exactly. Somebody just got points. Oh, man, it's crazy. All right. Well, we're going to close the mailbox for now, but we do have quite a few Shazam ones in here, but we've decided to hold those for next time because we will do sort of a mostly mailbag episode with any of your Shazam questions or any questions, really. So if you've got anything for the Wayne Manor mailbox, you can send that to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. And then if the mailbox gets full enough, that'll just be what we do next time. It'll be nice and easy. So yeah, we would appreciate that. So yeah, what'd you think of Shazam? Questions, comments, anything we forgot to mention about the movie, which I'm sure happened, send those our way. holybatcast at rf4rm.com, and we will read them next time. But that'll do it for this episode of Holy BatCast. Again, keep an eye on our Twitter feed for that contest coming up shortly after this episode publishes, so you can win your digital movie of Batman, The Doom That Came to Gotham. But gentlemen, thanks for joining. Jamie, I know you're tired. Thanks for staying up late.
Well, it was a good time. It was good to talk about a new DC movie, even though some of it wasn't the most pleasant part of the conversation. But hey, we like getting together for these.
Part of the course, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, glad to be here. Glad we got the gang back together, as it were. We don't seem to get this done often enough anymore. So let's try and rectify that going forward.
All right. Well, now that you guys have reconciled, maybe we could do that. Anything you want to plug, or are you good?
I've got my Twitter, BatRaider3960, Letterbox, my name, Jamie Drewley. Those are the two places you can probably find me more often than not. Real Fans groups on Facebook, especially Real Fans for Real Movies. And yeah, that's about it for me.
Awesome. And if all goes well, there will be a new Real Fans out there right around the same time as this.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully there is, because I spent 4 hours researching for it today.
Well, things happen. Brendan, thank you as well. Glad we could make it happen.
Anytime.
Well, terrific. Anything you want to plug?
Aside from you, no. I mean, you can find
it's just nice to be wanted.
I'm just wanting to get a few more points because I can't show you. Well, I mean, I could show you my boobs like Catherine offered, but obviously it's not going to have the same impact.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get a few more points. That's all.
Yeah, you know what, Brendan? Soar with your strengths.
Exactly right. You can just follow me on Twitter at Lowy007 and on Facebook in the Real Fans groups.
Awesome.
Listen, we understand parenthood gets in the way of things. So listen, if we all get together, Jess and Catherine and me will take the kids. We'll go to the parks. We'll have some dinner, have a lovely girls' day out, and you two just do what you need to do. Okay.
Terrific. Okay. On that note, let's wrap this thing up. Thank you guys, as always, for joining us and for downloading or streaming the show. Please do subscribe or follow the show wherever you get your podcasts. If you like the show, something else you can do to support us is you can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Visit holybatcast.com or find Holy BatCast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. If you got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox for next time, that email address, again, is holybatcast@rf4rm.com. Our theme music was created by the talented Gaurav Venkateswar. You can find his work at gvtunes.com. And don't forget to check out our sponsors at manscaped.com and use that promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. That'll do it for this episode. On behalf of Jamie and Brendan, I've been Andy. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for. And Brendan, I think you earned the explicit tag. Congratulations.
I didn't swear.
Well, you kind of like half bleep
You dropped
yourself.
one F-bomb in there.
Like,
you dropped one.
I didn't say it fully. I
He always,
self-edited.
he self-edits it, but I'm like, I'll just play it safe and put up the E tag. It's fine. I did last time.
PG-13's you're allowed one F-bomb. I'm just saying.
That's true. It's true. But, last time there was a lot of boob talk, so I did it too. So you never know.
There was a lot of boob talk.
There's a lot of boobs.
The same pictures or it didn't happen, Catherine.
Hold on, I'm texting you.